Hey, Pastor Josh here. We're reading Genesis chapter 11, verses 27 through 32. Now, these are the generations of Terah. Again, here is that title that we see at the beginning of these various sections in Genesis. These are the generations of blank, of X. And as I've said in previous videos, I think these are kind of markers for source material that Moses would have had access to, that he would have then be putting together, and I'm sure with edits and adjustments that he puts together the book of Genesis for the Israelites as they're coming out of Egypt at Mount Sinai and as they are becoming a nation. So these are the generations of Terah, Terah being the father of Abraham. Terah fathered Abram. Remember, that was Abram's name before God changes it to Abraham later on. And he fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now, what's interesting is since we see what we've just went through after the flood story, through the Babel story and these genealogies, is that we have left the family, right, the father with 3 children, and now we've come to another father with 3 children, except now the hero is not going to be the father, it's actually going to be one of the sons, Abram. And Haran fathered Lot. And many of you that are familiar with Abraham's story will already recognize, okay, Lot will come into play here in a little bit. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his kindred in Ur of the Chaldeans. And so Abraham's brother Haran died in Ur, in this place of the Chaldeans. This is the place where the moon god would have been worshipped, and many believe that Abraham would have been a worshiper of this moon god, and Terah and Nahor would have been worshiping these gods. But Abraham heard the voice of the Lord. Genesis chapter 12 verse 1 mentions that God then tells him to get out from your family's homeland, leave this place, and go to the land that I am going to show you. And we're told in Scripture, both the book of Acts, Stephen mentions it when he's rehashing the story of the Israelites. And then also, God says, I called you when you were in Ur of the Chaldeans. He says that in Genesis chapter 14. So Abraham actually gets the call while he is there in Ur of the Chaldeans. Now, does this have something to do with Haran dying? Who knows? But there at this point, probably a traumatic time in Abraham's life. He's hearing the call of God. You need to leave your father homeland, and you need to go to the place that I show you. And Abram and Nahor took wives, Nahor being the other brother. So you got Nahor, Abram, and Terah, in Haran. Haran dies. Abram and Nahor take wives. The name of Abram's wife is Sarai. We'll change her name to Sarah. And the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, in Ishka. Now, Sarah was barren. She had no child. Emphasis here, because this will become important later on. Sarah is not able to have a child, and yet she is the one that is going to bring the seed into the world, the seed of Jesus, right? So Sarah will ultimately birth Isaac, but it's not going to be until she is much older that she's actually going to be able to have children. So the emphasis here is to say, hey, Sarah is barren and she has no children. And the attitude we need to change is that God enjoys using things that do not seem to be the things that he would use. He enjoys kind of flipping the script, if you will. He enjoys using the lesser things to bring glory to his name. He enjoys doing that so much, and that's an attitude we need to have, because oftentimes people say, well, I can't do this or that. I can't serve the Lord. But in reality, if you do have an excuse and you say, well, I can't do it because of this, you're actually providing a reason for why you probably should do it. because you're not equipped. And the Lord loves to use those that are not equipped to do his work, because then he will equip you and empower you to do it. So Terah then took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. So Terah is the one pictured taking Abraham and Lot and taking Nahor and taking the whole family. They're all leaving and going together. Terah is the one pictured doing this. But we know from, like I said, in Genesis chapter 15 and Stephen in the book of Acts when he's speaking about this, is actually Abraham received the call. And so probably what happened is that Abraham told his dad, hey, God's calling me to leave you and to leave this land. And Terah says, oh, well, tell me more about this. And then he chooses to follow the leading of the Lord through Abraham, and he takes his family, and they go on their way to the land of Canaan, to the land that God would show them, the ultimate promised land. But they stop short. Question is, why do they stop short? When they come to Haran, they settled there. So they stop halfway. They don't go all the way to the land of Canaan. They settle at Haran, which is interesting, right? That's the name of their son, or Terah's son that died, Abraham's brother that died. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And so two options here. They were on their way to Canaan, and Terah got sick, and they were just not able to continue the trip to Canaan. Of course, that is a possibility, but it seems like that's not really what the text is leading us to. When they came to Haran, they settled there. Like this was intentional. Didn't say Terah got sick. Didn't say that they stopped, for any good reason. It's just that they settled there. They made this their home. I think that's a sin. Terah was listening to the words of God. He was following the call of Abraham, but he only went halfway. He didn't go all the way to the promised land. And how many times do we just halfway follow God? We need to fully obey God. We need to fully follow him all the way. And so just following God halfway is basically not following God at all. If we're going to follow him, we need to follow him all the way. If we're going to obey him, we need to obey him fully. So what is it that you're not doing that you should be doing? What is it that you're doing halfway that you need to be doing all the way? Perhaps there's something that you need to be doing now, and you're actually thinking about stopping it. You're thinking about not bringing it to completion. It's a sin you need to confess, and you make sure that you do the thing that God has asked you to do. Do it completely. Don't stop short like Terah did. I pray that's been a blessing to you. We really get into our Abraham story in our next video, and I will see you then. Pray that has been a blessing to you. I got to move myself, and now I will turn it off.